I want to talk about Barbie, the movie. I went and saw it. And, you know, I was like, I wasn't planning to see this, but then I watched Brittany Venti do a review of it, and it was so thorough and good that I was like, And then I watched other people talk about this movie. I heard she talked about Ben Shapiro's review of the movie, which he's completely stupid on. And then I saw people like Tom of Midnight's Edge, talk about, the feminist message in the film. And then I saw Heels versus his review. I said, oh, I've got to see this. Because he said it was one of the funniest movies he saw. And he's right, it is funny. And then I noticed that Carl Benjamin of Lotus Eaters was talking about this movie and how people have got the message of this movie wrong. And he's right. This movie is essentially, if you know anything about the toy, is that essentially the woman who created Barbie was Ruth Handler, and she came up with the idea for this. She named the Barbie and Ken after her kids, because her daughter was Barbara. That's where Barbie comes from, and Ken is her son name, so she shortened it to Ken. And so yeah. And she basically lost her company that her and her husband had started, Mattel, due to being accused of tax evasion or embezzlement. So yeah, she lost her company. And in this movie, the thing is that Rhea Perlman plays her in the movie. And this has a very anti-feminist message in it. The people are like, oh my god, it has a feminist message, patriarchy. But really, and honestly, the Barbie world is very oppressive to the Kens. And the thing is that Ken is actually the hero of this movie. And he actually steals the movie away from Margot Robbie's Barbie, because she says, I'm stereotypical Barbie. And it really becomes all about Ken standing up against the oppressive matriarchy. Because when a film opens, and Helen Mirren is fantastic as the narrator, and she really does a great job narrating this, is that we see that Barbie Land is over here on the left, and then there's the human world over here, the real world, or the hyper-realistic real world on the right side. Then we come to Barbie Land, which is all the Barbie homes. All the Barbies have homes, Ken's don't. So right there, it's already telling you the women are in control of everything. All the women have the jobs, Ken's don't have anything. They don't own anything, they don't have a home to live in. And really, the Barbies are the villains of this story. And that the Kens are the ones being oppressed. Kind of shits all over feminism, and does it in a clever way that people don't realize that it's actually shitting on feminism and saying, yes, the patriarchy. And I laughed my asshole out watching this, because it is absolutely funny. It starts out where we're introduced to Barbie, Margot Robbie, and she gets, wakes up to this song, and it's a very poppy song, and that's really a big thing about this, is in Barbie Land, everything's a catchy pop song. Yeah. And seems bright and everything. And so she goes take a shower, and you hear the water turn on, but you see no water. That's a big clue that these Barbies are actually just human-sized versions of the toys. And then she goes and pulls out, gets her breakfast, which is a waffle with, I think it's butter, and a carton, and pours it, but nothing comes out, and then she pretends to drink it. The food is still on the plate, and she's doing this as if she ate it, and then she floats down to her vehicle, and heads off. And all the Barbies, they do this over-exaggerated wave, like, hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi Barbie, like that. Really over the top. And there's a black actress, I'll get to the cast, because this movie is actually really good at one thing, telling you that, here's all the Barbies. And basically Kate McKinnon plays the weird Barbie, And they explain why she's the weird Barbie is because the girl played with her, cut her hair, and did all these things to her, like making her do the splits, that it made everyone think she was weird. And it is a very matriarch system where the women benefit the men, or the Kens who represent men are oppressed. And like when Ken, which is Beach Ken, played by, you know, Ryan Gosling, I almost forgot, he basically represents men. And in this, it's like he's simply, the Kens are only there to basically exist for the women's attention. And Barbie does not treat Ken very well. And it shows, like, you know, she goes to the beach, he's trying to show off because he has an insecurity when it comes to tourist Ken. Like, here's the Kens. Like, Samuel Lee Shimu, I think that's his. Yeah, he plays tourist Ken, and he's literally keeps, you know, he knows that it's irritating the hell out of Ken, who's got an insecurity when it comes to this, because he's in love with Barbie, and she doesn't reciprocate at all. You know, and she calls herself stereotypical Barbie. Blonde hair, blue eyes, you know. And points out they have no genitalia. Yeah. So she decides that, you know, Ken wants to show off, and he's going to go surfing, but the waves don't move. So he runs into it head on and flips in the air, lands, falls on the ground. Barbie comes, and then all of a sudden she runs away, go and see tourist Ken, because, you know, he knows it's irritating Ken. So then they all get together at all the Barbies' homes to have a party. Barbie's going to have a party at her home, where all the Barbies live. And all the Kens go there, and they all do these ridiculous dance to ridiculous pop music. And it's like, okay, if you've ever heard what Carlton dances, Carlton was the cousin of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, of Will Smith's character, and he did this funny dance that was literally a white man's dance. And so he essentially, because, you know, that's what's going on. You see him doing this ridiculous, and then all of a sudden Barbie says, out of the blue, says dying, and everything freezes. And then she goes, what the hell's happening? And she doesn't understand what's going on with her. And then suddenly she says something, and everything goes back to the partying and everything and having a good time. And then Ken wants to stay with her, and she goes, it's girls' night. She goes, well, it's girls' night every night. And essentially he wants to be with her, but she don't want him around. And she's very dismissive, and pretty much, and she asks, why do you want it? Because. And she goes, well, she points out it's girls' night. He goes, well, it's girls' night every night, and tells him to essentially go away. And so, yeah. So eventually she has other things go on, and she realizes something's wrong, so they send her to Weird Barbie, played by Kate McKinnon. Yeah. Who basically, she's right here, yeah. This is the president, and this woman's so over the top, and so she's the matriarchy. She really doesn't like men. She treats the Kens like crap, like all the women have everything, men have nothing. It's a very oppressive system to men, and this is the whole point of the movie. It's showing you that feminism, and if women, you know, that men would be oppressed. And so we have Kate McKinnon who plays Weird Barbie, like I said, and basically Weird Barbie tells her, in order to figure out, you know, what this visions and everything you're having, you have to go to the real world and find the person the girl who played with you. And so she tells you have to go here, through these steps to get to the real world. So she heads off, and all of a sudden Ken pops out of the back and goes, I want to come with you. And she's like, he goes, did you bring your inline skates? He goes, I always bring them with me, and they're yellow. They're one of the most goofy, colorful, that fit in Barbie world, but look ridiculous in the real world. So they get to the real world, and Barbie's like, everything looks odd. People are like noticing both of them, noticing their outfits, commenting, and then she sees all these construction workers think they're women. She's like, listen, and it's all guys each other. And then this guy slaps her on the ass, and so she does this and gets arrested. And Ken goes like really excited about being arrested, and then they sort of get new outfits. He wears a cowboy outfit, she wears a dress, and then they don't have any money, so they run off. They get caught again, arrested, and then Ken wants to go and do his thing while she goes and figures out this whole doll, with the girl that played with her. And Ken goes off to figure out things because he's like, oh, this is really interesting. It's more of a corporate, hyper-realistic of what the real world's like. And we do have Mattel in here. Will Ferrell plays the CEO, and they get a call that Barbie's in the real world, and it's like, oh crap, this is bad. I'm not joking. So this one guy is sent to tell the CEO that Barbie has come into the real world, and they had this happen before. And so essentially, Ken gets asked by a woman out of the blue, do you know what time it is? You go, what? Do you know what time it is? It's like, no, I don't. And Barbie meets the girl who she thinks is going to totally, fix all of her problems because she's getting cellulite, she's having all these thoughts of dying. And the girl, it could not have been more shitting on feminism. The girl basically pisses all over on Barbie and says, you're the problem with women, capitalism, feminism. You ruined women, and calls her a fascist. And Barbie runs off crying and starts having a breakdown while Ken goes and sees all these corporate men and everything. Sees these stout horses. That plays into the patriarchy of the movie. And he wants this job. So he's asked this guy about getting a job and everything. And he's like, well, I can't give you unless you get a degree. He goes, what? I can't. He goes, no, you need to do these things. Then next thing, he's at this hospital wanting to do surgery. She goes, I can't let you do that. Oh, come on, let me just do a surgery. And you go, no. He goes, I want to talk to a doctor. And she goes, I am a doctor. He goes, I want to talk to a real doctor. I couldn't stop laughing at that. That was so fucking funny. And then he sees all these books and he hears the word patriarchy. So he grabs all these books and he's going to head back, and Barbie doesn't want to head back. And eventually they send the corporate, Mattel sends out all these people to bring Barbie to corporate headquarters. And Ken heads back to Barbie by himself, back to Barbie Land, with all the information he has. Barbie gets brought to the corporate, and then, she wants to go back to the Barbie world. Oh, they're like, oh, good, just get in the box, and, and then she's like, and then she runs away, and they want to capture her, and she ends up running into a room where this old lady, played by Rhea Perlman, and it turns out, unless you're smart, you already know who Rhea Perlman's playing in the movie, you can actually see right here, Ruth Handler. Anybody who knows who Ruth Handler is, she's the co-founder of Mattel and the creator of Barbie. Yeah, and of course, Helen Mirren, God bless this fucking woman. She could narrate a phone book and I would listen. She's basically the female version of Morgan Freeman. I'm not joking. Yeah. And you have, Alan's in the movie. Alan is played by Michael Cera, and he's basically, oh my god, this is like my issue. He's midgets. Anybody knows anything about Barbie knows midget is the pregnant chick. Alan's wife was pregnant and got discontinued because girls don't want a pregnant Barbie. Yeah. And so Alan basically gets totally shit on throughout the movie. No one gives a fuck about him. Michael Cera, give it credit, really funny as playing the guy. He's like, hi, I'm Alan. And at one point in the movie, there's all these construction guys. He goes, hey, and he tried to assert himself, trying to stand, and they come up and they look like they're gonna whip his ass, and it's like he's beating the shit out of these guys. Like in real life, those guys could kick the shit out of Michael Cera. And then he goes off with Barbie and the mother and daughter because they head back to Barbie World. And he wants to close off the portal. Yeah, Alan wants to close off that none of this shit can happen because, ironically, the boy bands, he points out all the boy bands in the real world are due to the Kens that went to the real world. Yeah. Yep, our boy bands in America, boy bands, Backstreet, all that came due to the Kens who flooded into the real world. Essentially, yeah. So Barbie gets back and notices things are different. And Ken created the Ken Dojo. Yes, he took over Barbie's home. All the Kens did. He created his own dojo. Yes, Ken Dojo. It's awesome. He's wearing a fur coat, and all the women have suddenly realized, oh, we like this. They like the patriarchy. And Barbie's like, what the hell is going on? And he's like, this is my place now. And the women really are enjoying having the men make the decision for them. It's like, yeah. It's like a simpler, the women are all enjoying themselves, and Barbie's like, oh my god, what the hell is going on? She basically gives up and goes on, literally just stops moving like a toy. It's hilarious watching her just give up, I give up. And the Kens are like, and oh yeah, he wants to he's having a party, it says it's guys, and she goes, well, isn't it? And he goes, how does it feel? He turns the table on her when she was dismissive of him and sent him away. Because it's also sort of, Barbie is not into Ken. She's not into being with any man. And that's it has that sort of anti-relationship message in the movie, but the feminist shit is shit on. And I'll give the director credit. Her and the writer did a good job basically showing you that Ken is the hero. He really is. Ryan Gosling's so great that he's the hero of the story. And so he's basically created this, and you see the women are happy, and then they bring in weird Barbie, who goes, we gotta deprogram these women. What, undo the good that they had done? They looked happy. Nope, we gotta undo it. The stupid feminist. Can't be happy with anything. So they go about trying to deprogram the women, to put them back to the way they once were, which was oppress the men, because weird Barbie, and Kate McKinnon's good, but her character is absolutely a feminist and kind of deserves to be called a weird. And so they essentially, the music when we're in Barbie World is very poppy. There's a scene on the beach, and this song starts with Ken doing it to Barbie, and then all of a sudden it pulls back, and all the Kens are singing the same song. Oh my god. What the fuck? I was laughing hard when that happened. And then we're gonna get the women deprogrammed. So they go about and we're gonna manipulate the men and thinking we're helpless and everything, which is what this movie literally says, that women are manipulative, lying bitches. I mean, I'm not joking. This movie's literally saying that the Barbies are controlling, oppressive, manipulative bitches. And I laughed hard. I enjoyed this film. I recommend anybody see it. And then we're going to get the men to fight. Oh my god, could that not have gone down any better? Yeah. And so you have Ken, Beach Ken with being carried in, he's singing, and then you have Tourist Ken, played by Shimu, and he's singing, and then they're all fighting and everything, and while this is all going on with CEO of Mattel, Will Ferrell, and the board of directors have arrived in Barbie Land. And this fighting thing gets so ridiculous. There's an arrow shot, it hits Ken in the shoulder, he grabs it, he goes like this. It's one of those ones, like Nerf arrows that sticks, when you shoot it, it sticks to the wall. Yeah. And so he takes it, goes like that, and the guy pretends he's been hit by an arrow, and then the two Kens get together and they do the whole chest thing where it's all like glitters and everything, and then suddenly they're dancing. And then they're told, did we forget to vote? Yes. And the women are all celebrating, and then here comes, oh god. And then they're like, all the women are like, yes, we stopped the men! And the men are like, realize they fucked themselves, and then all of a sudden this woman, Rhea Perlman shows up, and she goes, "Do I look like Barbie? I don't look like Barbie." And they go, "Who are you?" "I'm the woman who created Barbie." I swear to God, this was the whole thing. They went, "Yes, I created Barbie. I also created Mattel with my husband until I was charged with embezzling." Yeah, by the IRS, which is true, by the way. And the Ken and Barbie name come from her two kids, Barbara and Kenneth. Yeah, and she got the idea from this after, paper dolls and everything. I'll show a little bit of the history. But yeah, and she explained that, essentially these are toys for girls to play with. They're not supposed to be this. Whatever it's just about kids' imagination. And all the Barbies start and then Ken, Barbie and Ken talk, and Barbie makes Ken realize she's not in love with him. But he points out they've always been Ken and Barbie. It's never been just one or the other. That they couldn't exist with each other. And she's like, why not? So he starts singing a song about how important it is to be Ken. And all the Kens join it. It's a great fucking song. Proving that Ken, played by Ryan Gosling, is the hero of this story. Because he makes you realize how important men really are. And this really does shit on feminism for all the people that were like, oh my god, women are breaking up because women are fucking idiots who break up with their boyfriends over it because they didn't get... The message is that men are important and feminism sucks, okay? There's your message, morons. And so and then all the women realize, oh my god, we were so wrong. We do need the men. So they decide we're gonna let the men have jobs. We're gonna stop being so controlling. And one the gay Ken goes, I miss my Barbie. And the transsexual comes in. Oh, there you are. And then they let the men have jobs and be, and they go, can we be on the Supreme Court? And they say, the president says, no, but we'll let you on the lower courts. And the one king goes, can we at least wear robes? And they go, yes. And they're like all happy. Because the men really weren't out to control anything. They just wanted to have... The truth is, all the men wanted to do was be treated with respect. And in the end, the women, Barbies, all realized that they had been horrible to the men. And they changed themselves to allow the men to have more involvement in the Barbie world. In Barbie Land, they changed because they realized how bad things were and how oppressing the men really didn't help them either. So they wanted the men involved. That's why, yes, they don't let them on the Supreme Court, but they understand it. By giving them the lower courts and stuff and letting them have more, they're not being as oppressive to the men, and the patriarchy is actually not a bad thing. It's the matriarchy that sucks. And then, of course, Helen Mirren's narrator brings this funny bit in and goes, well, now these men have as many rights, has as many opportunities the women do in the real world. And yeah, that's not really true. But it's funny, because I love Helen Mirren. And and then Ruth walks off with Barbie and basically tells her, because she doesn't want to be in the Barbie world anymore. She wants to live. And basically she's telling her that, the Barbie world's all about imagination. That's why I created it, for girls to be able to be whoever they wanted to be. Oh yeah, one more thing is that the mother in this movie, Gloria, played by America Ferrera. Wow, her name is America. Yeah, asked the CEO, played by Will Ferrell, if they could create a simple Barbie that can be anything, including just a mother. Understand that big symbolism in a movie that's supposed to be all about feminism. Why would they bring up about motherhood? Because she is a mother in the movie. And her daughter's a teenager and, gave up playing dolls. So, and she's a typical teenager in the movie. This is Sasha, the daughter. Yeah, and she's actually really entertaining and plays a typical teenager in the movie who's like, doesn't want her mother doting over her. She wants to... that type of thing like most teenage girls do with their mothers when they get to hit puberty and they want to kind of think that they can handle things. Yeah, and Will Ferrell says to Gloria, no, that'll be a terrible, we'll lose money. The guy behind him says, no, it'll make a lot of money. He goes, okay, great idea. Then Ruth walks off with Barbie, and they start talking. I missed some of the speech because I had to go to the bathroom, but she essentially tells her, in Barbie Land, everything's based on imagination, so you can live forever. But if you go to the real world, you know what happens. You've been there. There's only one end for this. You're going to die. And she goes, yeah, but then chooses to basically become real. Yeah. She doesn't want to be a toy. She wants to be a real woman. Get a real vagina. And the last part of this movie didn't have to be there, but they put it in, is her visiting a gynecologist. Oh yeah, and we meet Gloria's husband, and he's kind of like, I'm trying to just figure out how to describe this submissive husband, because he is kind of submissive to both his wife and daughter, because they both kind of shit on him. And he kind of takes it like the fucking absolute loser he is. And like I said, Ken is the real star of this movie. He's the hero of a movie. Oh, and John Cena is in this movie too, as a Ken maid, which is a mermaid, a male mermaid. And then we find out there was a discontinued, we meet the discontinued toy line of Barbie. And one was called Sugar Daddy Ken. And she goes, Sugar Daddy Ken? Thinking some weird, nope, he goes, this is my dog Sugar, and I'm her daddy. And he's absolutely totally gay. Oh yeah. And he has his partner there, and it's like, that's why I'm Sugar Daddy Ken. Not because in real life that literally means exactly what you think it means. Yeah. And give it up to the cast. They do a good job of this movie. I have to admit, the director surprised me with this movie. But really, Ryan Gosling is the star of this movie. And while I was waiting to watch this movie at my theater, I had the choice between this or seeing that 3-hour gore fest called Oppenheimer. If I want to see a movie about Japan being destroyed by a monster, I'll just watch Godzilla or any of the Japanese Godzilla films. But is that I decided to see this, and it was a fun movie. And really, Ken is the hero. I mean, he is, because the Barbies are the villains. And Sargon was right about this. It's a very anti-feminist movie. It's also kind of an anti-relationship in the sense between Ken and Barbie. It's Ken's in love with her, Barbie doesn't reciprocate, and she doesn't want to be with him. And he in the end realizes, okay, I'm going to go Midtown. I'm going to go my own way. And all the Kens agree, okay, we're going to go our own way. And other Barbies go, oh, we kind of like having the men around. And like I said, they appreciate they change everything to benefit even the Kens, so that they're not alone, so they don't feel useless. They feel like they're important to Barbie World. Barbie Land, I mean. Yeah, and the CEO, Will Ferrell's character, is, he's walking and he sees Midge, and he goes, didn't we discontinue? Yes, we did. Sees Midge, and he goes, oh my god, what's Midge doing here? I thought we discontinued her. We did. And Alan's there, and oh god, give Michael Cera credit. Playing Alan, the guy nobody gives a shit about, and he becomes the most feminist male incel in the whole movie is Michael Cera, because he's like, hi, I'm Alan, and it's like, nobody even notices Alan. Even when he helps out, he's kind of like a useful idiot to the women that are trying to, think they're going to restore things back they were, until they realize they really didn't want to do that. And that's why I laugh so hard at this movie, because it really is not the feminist movie everyone thinks. Yeah, stereotypical Barbie, yeah, is Margot Robbie. And yeah, the only reason this came about right here, this Barbieheimer thing, is because these are two movies coming out at the same time that were anticipated, Oppenheimer and Barbie. And Barbie's actually kicking on Oppenheimer's ass, by the way, which I actually think is a good thing. And I'll give Greta Gerwig and Noah here, good job. Good job, you two. Push it. You did such a fantastic job of making the men very sympathetic, the Kens very sympathetic, and the women, the truly the villains. I mean, they are. Without a doubt, the feminism in this movie is so toxic that the women feel better when they have the patriarchy, and that's like when Ken brings it back and shows them what he thinks patriarchy, and the women really are happier, and they're like, yeah, look, we're really happy. And of course the feminism goes, we have to deprogram them. But at the end, it actually kind of backfired on Kate McKinnon's character, because she is actually the feminist in the whole story. The true feminist is that the other Barbies realize they don't really want to go back to the way things, after, Gloria says, can we create just a Barbie that, and meeting their creator, by the way, it made the president Barbie basically go, yeah, I think we can change things we don't want to go back to the way things were. We see that was a mistake, because they see the Kens actually willing to go their own way after they do the their version of MGTOW Ken starts it. He really is the hero. Thank God Ryan Gosling decided to do this movie. Could have been a complete disaster, but he really is the star and the hero of this movie. And, I've seen his other movies. He's not a terrible actor. He's an okay actor, but here, he really is the star of a movie about Barbie. And who knew that would actually be a thing that you would go, oh, this is a fucking amazing film. And I'm saying it, I didn't go in thinking this, and I love this fucking movie. I will watch this fucking again, because that's how much I really enjoyed watching this movie about a fucking toy. A girl's toy. And I'll show you something. Now, the whole Barbie toy got started by Ruth Handler, who, when she was basically wanting to come up with this whole thing, she just noticed the history right here. Ruth Handler watched her daughter Barbara, that's where Barbie comes from, play with paper dolls, and noticed that she often enjoyed giving them adult roles. At the time, most children's toy dolls were representations of infants. Realizing that there could be a gap in the market, Handler suggested the idea of an adult-bodied doll to her husband Elliot, a co-founder of the Mattel toy company. He was unenthusiastic about the idea, as were Mattel's directors. This is the board of directors. So, during a trip to Europe in 1956 with her children Barbara and Kenneth, Barbie, and Ken, Ruth Handler came across a German doll toy called Build Lily. The adult figured doll was exactly what Handler had in mind, so she purchased 3 of them. She gave one to her daughter and took the others back to Mattel. The Lily doll was based on a popular character appearing in a satirical comic strip drawn by Reinhard Buthin, I think that's how you pronounce it, for the newspaper Bild. The Lily doll was first sold in Germany in 1955, and although it was initially sold to adults, it became popular with children who played dressing her up in outfits that were available separately, sold separately. Upon her return to the United States, Handler redesigned the doll with the help from local inventor designer Jack Ryan. Let's see if we can see what a picture of Jack Ryan looks like. Nope. And the doll was given a new name, Barbie, after Handler's daughter Barbara. The doll made its debut at the American International Toy Fair in New York City on March 9th, 1959. This date is also used as the Barbie's official birthday. Yeah. The first Barbie doll wore a black and white zebra striped swimsuit and signature tank top ponytail. Also had black hair, not blonde, and was available as either a blonde or brunette. This one's brunette, yeah. The doll was marketed as a teenage fashion model, with her clothes created by Mattel fashion designer Charlotte Johnson. The first Barbie dolls were manufactured in Japan, with their clothes stitched by Japanese home workers. Holy shit. Around 350,000 Barbie dolls were sold during the first year of production. Louis Barks and Company sued Mattel in March 1961 after licensing Lily. They claimed that Mattel had infringed on Greiner and Hauser's patent for Build Lily's hip joint, and also claimed that Barbie was a direct takeoff and copy of Build Lily. The company additionally claimed that Mattel falsely and misleadingly represented itself as having originated the design. Mattel counterclaimed, and the case was settled out of court in 1963. In 1964, Mattel bought Greiner and Hauser's copyright and patent rights for the Build Lily doll for $21,600. Ruth Handler believed that it was important for Barbie to have an adult appearance, and early marketing research showed that some parents were unhappy about the doll's chest, which had distinct breasts. Barbie's appearance has been changed many times, most notably in 1971 when the doll's eyes were adjusted to look forward rather than having the dismal sideways glance of the original model. Yeah. This would be the last adjustment Ruth would make to her own creation, as 3 years later she and her husband were removed from their post at Mattel after an investigation found them guilty of issuing false and misleading financial reports. Barbie was one of the first toys to have a marketing strategy based extensively on television TV advertising, which has been copied widely by other toys. In 2006, it was estimated that over 1 billion Barbie dolls have been sold worldwide in over 150 countries, with Mattel claiming that 3 Barbie dolls are sold every second. The standard range of Barbie dolls and related accessories are manufactured to approximate a 1/6 scale, which is also known as play scale. The standard doll are approximately 11.5 inches, that's 22 centimeters tall. Yeah. And so she also later created the this is the woman, and essentially she later added Ken to it, named after her son. Yeah, right here. Later, Handler and Mattel added a boyfriend for Barbie named Ken after the Handler's son, Kenneth, and many other characters in the brand's lineup. Yeah. So I just want to give a little bit of that to this, about who Ruth Handler, and the fact that she's in the movie played by Ruth Yeah. And so, yeah, this movie is worth seeing. It is an anti-feminist movie. And really, like I said, Michael Cera plays Alan. And he's really good, actually. He's funny because his character is the most pathetic character in the whole movie. And he's like, "Hi, I'm Alan," and nobody gives a shit that Alan exists. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, Midge is here. Hide." So yeah, it's worth seeing. It's more of an anti-feminist movie than it is a feminist movie. Yeah, so I wanted to do this review talking about that, going through the, and I've seen, like I said, Sargon, he went through this and talked about how the reaction people have is like, "Oh, Ken's not the hero of this movie." Actually, he fucking is. He's the real star and hero, and that Barbie's actually the villain. And by the end of the movie, even the Barbies realize they treated the Kens terrible, and they do change for the better. So patriarchy is not the problem, it's the matriarchy is. And that is the point, that the women did have everything, but they treated the men like shit, and men were oppressed. And so, Ken freed the men, and then in the end they realized, we really don't need the women, we're going to go our own way. And then the women said, oh shit, we can't let that happen. So they changed things so that the men feel like they're a part of everything. So I do recommend this. You will laugh your ass off. It's not the great feminist movie that people are wanting. Oh, it's totally feminist. No, the word patriarchy is done comically. Like when, and here's a good example. When at the end of the movie, Ken says to Barbie, I thought the patriarchy was a bunch of horses. When I found out it wasn't, I didn't care about the patriarchy. He just, all he wants is her to accept him. And she doesn't. And in the end, he sings his song about basically being Ken. And basically going, fine, I'm going to go my own way. You go your way, I'll go my own way. It's big town at the end. So, patriarchy oppresses men. And that the feminism is shit. And, yeah, it really is a shit on feminism. And that's the fucking hilarious thing about this movie, is how it, even the lady, Ruth, played by Rhea Perlman, says, does Barbie look anything like me? No, and I created the damn toy. I created Barbie. She knew she was Barbie the whole time, and she goes, yeah, you don't look like me, and I created you. And she's like, yeah, I created this company. Until the IRS took me, I lost my company to do the, tax evasion. Yeah, because she was charged with tax evasion, which was bullshit. She just, fucked up on the paperwork and, lost her company. But yeah. And I showed a little bit of the history of the toy and everything, but yeah. Yeah, the movie's really fun. It's entertaining. It's more of an anti-feminist movie. And Ken, yes, Ryan Gosling is the star of this movie. It's, unfortunately, a movie called Barbie really is all about the guy, Ken. And Ryan Gosling kills it. And I don't know if I said this when I was watching, while I was waiting in the theater, I went to see this. They put in, things about, Barbie's full name. And then they said a part about what made Ryan Gosling decide to do this movie was he saw a Ken doll face down in a mud puddle, and next to it was a squeezed lemon, so he called the director up and told her, on your Ken. And you can tell that they all had fun making this movie. And it really is you could say it's an anti-dating movie, with the fact that Barbie basically tells Ken off that she's not in love with him. But at the same time, it's an anti-feminist movie, because it makes fun of feminism, and it shows that when the women have control of everything, they kind of oppress the men, and everything's kind of shit. So when Ken brings patriarchy, the women actually are enjoying themselves, because they feel, they're enjoying being with the men. The men actually feel appreciated. It's only when the feminists come, when the feminists, Weird Barbie, decide we have to undo this. At the end, the women realized that they do want to have the men, and so they may have screwed them over, but they come to realize that, especially after the Ken song, where Ken goes, I am Ken, and it's, please watch this. Yeah, you'll enjoy this movie. I did. I will see it again. Is that the Kens realize they don't really need, and that's when the women realize, oh shit, we fucked up. And that's why, we better fix this. And so they do. And they make the men feel appreciated. Yeah. So Ken, in a way, is actually the hero. And Barbie is the villain. And that's why she leaves, because she knows she's the problem with Barbie world. And now that it's changed for the better, she doesn't fit in it. That's why she goes to the real world, because she doesn't belong in Barbie world, because she did cause all the problems. And Ken fixed the problems. So yes, Ken's the hero of Barbie Land, and Barbie leaves. The problem takes herself out of the equation, which allows everything to be good for everyone. The men, the women, because the villain is gone. That's essentially the movie. And if you sit there and see it, do laugh, because it's meant to be laughed at. If I had a chance to interview the director, I would ask her these questions about the movie. I'd say, what was your intent when you made this movie? Ken is the hero of your story, because there's no way he isn't. And this is clearly an anti-feminist movie. I was laughing so hard at all the feminism, and I said, she's really saying this is an anti-feminist movie. And there are women that don't like it because it is pretty much an anti-feminist movie. It's shitting on the feminism and saying, yes, the patriarchy is not a bad thing. And the fact that they want to create a Barbie that is a mother goes against feminism. Yeah, so it's a funny movie. I highly recommend this. If I were going 10 out of, I'd say this is about a 7, because it's beautifully shot. The cinematography is gorgeous. Barbie Land looks beautiful. Even the hyper-realistic, real world is it's all well shot and acted. Everybody is really goodness. It didn't turn me off. I was laughing my ass off at all the feminism, and really made Ken the hero. Ryan Gosling's the hero, star of this movie. I would love to see, like Sargon said, I'd like to see a sequel to this where it stars Ken, because I really think and somebody pointed out, could Ryan Gosling end up winning an Oscar for this? He could. If he gets nominated and doesn't win, then they prove the point that they actually disprove the feminist notion that the patriarchy is the problem. Do I think Ryan Gosling deserves an Oscar for this? Absolutely. Do I think he should win? Fuck yeah. He is absolutely, this movie is nothing without Ryan Gosling. You couldn't put somebody else in that role and make it. He just is that fucking good. He is the reason this movie is entertaining. Because when she comes back, the patriarchy's taken over, and he's like, yeah, I've turned this into my Ken Bro Dojo. And he's got a fur coat on. Oh God, another funny thing about this, when he's throwing her clothes out, they freeze in the air and tell you what they are. Yeah. And then they drop to the ground. Yeah. And then when he tosses he finally takes off the fur coat and he tosses it. It does the same thing. It stops in the air and you see what it is, and then it lands and it's tourist bar Ken that takes the coat and puts it on. Because what Ken's doing is giving it to him. He's passing down, making sure that all the Kens understand that not one Ken is less important than the others. So yeah, it is a total, anti-feminist movie. So, like I said, I recommend it. Yeah, go watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. And don't sit there and think, oh my God, the feminist movie, yeah, the patriarchy. And making fun of the patriarchy. And making fun of the feminism in the movie is totally shit on. Good job, Greta. Good job, basically doing the anti-feminist movie. By making, people like Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh completely do not understand. This is not a feminist movie, it's anti-feminist. Sargon's right. It is a total anti-feminist movie. It is a men are oppressed in Barbie Land, and Ken is the hero. Yeah. Yep. And it changes for the better. Yeah, the men may not get on the Supreme Court, but they get to actually contribute and not treated as less inferior beings to the women. They actually appreciate them. Hell, by the way, some of those lower courts actually are more important than the Supreme Court overall in our, yeah. And so, yeah, and Helen Mirren points, another thing is that Barbie's given a whole speech about looks and everything, and Helen Mirren chimes in with, if the directors wanted to make this point about ugliness, maybe not hire an attractive woman to give this speech, which is true. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, and Barbie gets called by the girl, gets called a fascist, you ruined it. Yeah, that is absolutely shitting all over feminism. And for women to dump their boy because, that feminism is shit? Yeah, I think they get the message. It's just that feminists don't want to be in a relationship with men. So, yeah. Barbie's the villain, Ken's the hero. Good job, Greta. create a movie that basically said, yes, men are important. And you co-wrote it with the guy. So there you go. This is Gilgamesh. Follow me on Rumble under Panzer Dragon, Odyssey under Gilgamesh, and BitChute under Gilgamesh 1. I will talk to you later.